Good morning, everyone. We're starting a couple minutes late, and as you can see, we have a long agenda, so we need to get going. And as usual, we'll begin with our moment of silence. And thank you. As usual, the first item is introducing new residents, and we have some today, and I've even seen them here. We have Mike and Marty Young. We can stand up and wave, so we can most recently in Madison, Wisconsin, with some time in Alabama, and now at 59 in LA. And I have seen Ann Kennedy here as well. New York, and is there in Isabel's cottage. So welcome to all. Okay, next on is the administrative update.
Good morning. Good morning. Good to see all of you. I love when it's a packed room. Everybody was gibbering this morning and all excited to talk to one another. That's awesome. So I'm going to start with some good news. We have a new HR director, and her first day will be Monday, August 26th. Her name is Madison Carter, and Clint is very happy. For the last, month and a half, Clint? He's been holding our HR department together. So before I introduce Madison, I just think that we all owe Clint a huge round of applause. So Madison holds a BS in Human Services Delivery and Administration from the University of North Georgia. She is a Human Services Board Certified Practitioner and focuses on serving the whole human. So it's HR, human resources, with a lot of social work mixed in. So we're really looking forward to Madison's arrival. She's coming to us from North Carolina and is actually relocating to Lexington. Her partner is attending the WNL Law School. So we look forward to welcoming her on Monday. We are redoing the office, but when she arrives, Monday will be all-day orientation, but on Tuesday, she will be in her office, we hope. So please take a moment to say hello and welcome her to Kendall at Lexington. Just a reminder, the Alzheimer's Walk update, it is scheduled for Saturday, September 14th in Fishersville. If you were not able to sign up on Friday and you are interested in signing up for that walk, please see Erica or Adam and they will get you signed up to walk with us. I believe we are taking a bus. Is that correct? Okay, I'm getting the nod. We are taking a bus, so we will be riding to Fishersville. On September 10th at 4 o'clock in Kendall Hall, we will be holding an event for the residents with CLT team members. So CLT for us stands for Core Leadership Team. We will have a Core Leadership Team panel and moderated questions, and then open it up to the floor for questions. So often I hear, we don't know a lot about the senior leadership team. And so we want to take an opportunity for you to get to know us a little better. And then we will join the residents for happy hour at 5 o'clock. And yes, I will allow the staff to have a beer or a glass of wine. And they're looking forward to it. So a little update. So Vassar Bird, our CEO at the Kendall Corporation, has encouraged her board to have their board meetings at various communities as opposed to just always meeting in Delaware. So April 16th of 2025, we are the first stop for the TKC board. And so we will be welcoming them to Kendall at Lexington. They will be having their board meeting here and be taking a tour of Kendall at Lexington. The ransomware attack. So you all received an email from me. Actually, was it an email with a letter in it? Are there any questions about that? What happened? What didn't happen? Okay, good. So I need to say nothing more about that. That's over. We're done. Okay, good. I love it. All right. Last but not least, the nuisance animals. So I appreciate all the feedback and the time that was put into that discussion and the various discussion groups. Thank you, Lee, for leading those groups. Todd and I are going to sit down and take a look at the policy and process and put together something. We are going to accept the recommendation from all of you. And that recommendation is that we share our space with wildlife that lives on or passes through the Kendall campus, unless, number one, they appear to be sick or suffering with a potentially life-threatening injury, or they're causing damage to infrastructure such as buildings, drainage structures, etc., or it appears likely that damage could be imminent. So we have accepted that as administration, and we, as I said, will be putting together a process to make sure that that happens into the future. That's it. Thank you, everyone.
I am not good at this. All right, well, you know I'm not bad. I'm going to do the follow-up for the small animals thing, because there was actually a two-part recommendation. And the part Jan talked about, I know will make happy that people that like seeing the little creatures wandering around here. But one of the things that came out of the consensus groups and the Residents' Council acknowledged is that we do have people here who find skunks alarming, and groundhogs threatening their gardens, and rabbits infuriating when they eat the tulips. And we are a community, and we don't leave our members to struggle alone with things that they find difficult. So Residents' Council has asked for volunteers from the consensus groups who either have some experience or willing to do some research to develop some self-help guidelines for people who find they're living a little more closely with an animal than they would like. We see this as something that maintenance could have to give to people when they say, I've got a problem. And they're not going to be able to help them with trapping, but they can help them with what they could do themselves. And we also hope that perhaps in the long term, the residents, helping residents group might have someone in that group who could be do an on-site consultation with someone that why this particular animal seems so attached to this place and what might get it to change its mind. So I have heard from a couple people from that group who are willing to do it. We need a couple more. So if you're in that group, I'd like to hear from you. Okay, thank you. And this is not cooperating for me. Okay. There we go. All right. With Brian is up next with the dining room thing.
All right, good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
All right, everybody hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, that's without a microphone even. All right, how about, hello?
Hello.
There we go. There we go. Okay. I can do it without the microphone if I have to. That's not a problem. I'll switch to kitchen voice, but I just want to give you a brief update. I don't need the whole 7 or 8 minutes today, but just want to give you an update. We're currently in the summer menu, and I just want to let everybody know that in the next couple of weeks, we're going to be switching over to more of a fall menu. So you're going to start to see some more like butternut squash and other things like that as we transition from summer, into fall, and some of our menu cycles are going to change. Also, too, just to give everybody an update, we currently have a registered dietitian, Stephen. He's been very, very helpful for us for the last little bit, and he'll be wrapping up his tenure here this week. So just if you have any questions as far as dietary, you could run any of the dietary questions to me. And just wanted to give everybody an update. It's a good opportunity to mention that if you're looking at special diets, we're looking at some other information, just either reach out to myself or Candace and to go from there. Last thing, it's probably not that exciting, but it also is important. We've had plenty of conversation about dietary needs, portion control, other things like that. I've done some research, and what we have now, and I've spoken to quite a few residents, and what I want to show you is we have some new containers. For me, it's super exciting. I don't know why it's so exciting we have new containers, but I know most of you have brought containers from your house. I've not seen like Miracle Whip containers or anything like that. I've seen a lot of Rubbermaid. I've seen a lot of Tupperware come in. But the reason why I want to bring this up is these just came in. And if you have any to-go containers, I know most of our residents in the evening time pick up dinner to go. And I wanted to show you why this is important. Okay, so I took a little time to get these in. If you need a replacement, we have them. So the old ones with a black bottom, clear top. These are blue bottom, clear top. And this also helps us with our portion control. So the reason why it's exciting is because on the inside of it, on these 3 compartment containers here, if you look on the inside of it, it actually is a 1 measured cup. So that's very, very important. So that is a 1 cup measure, the larger portion is a 2 cup measure, and that should help you with your portion control. So each resident, we do have enough. If you need a to-go container, these are reusable, they are dishwasher safe, these are actually freezer safe. So very, very nice. We have a 1 compartment or 3 compartment, a 1 compartment, then we also have a 16-ounce soup container. Why is that important? 16 ounces is actually 2 portions. But if you get an 8-ounce container, fill it all the way up, put the lid on, doesn't make it a whole lot of fun. Make it very safe for a whole bunch of fun there. So you can do 8, 10, 12 ounces, but this is definitely 16 ounces is more than enough. So you get a portion and a half. And then we have enough for these containers per person. So if it's 2 of you, then make sure you pick up 2 of each. And that's all I have.
Yes, but where do we pick those up?
Right.
Oh,
Oh.
you can pick. There you go. Sorry about that. You can pick them up either with myself or with Kelsey. Yeah, just downstairs. Yes. Sorry, I should have asked questions, Lois.
We can still use our own that we have now, right? Not necessarily like we have other things.
You can. We do want to watch the size though, because we're having a lot of conversation about portion size and portion control. And then in the evening or the afternoon, I see these huge containers come down, and I've seen anywhere from 1 to 5 portions per person. And that's not going to help. That's not going to help across the board. How about that? So we're not going to touch about consumption or that, but these are nice, brand new. And I would lean, if they're that size, that's fine, but I need to start switching everybody back over to these so that we're consistent in portion size and consistent in serving for fairness to all the other residents too. So yes, we need to switch over, so. But for the interim, please, you would use what you have, but I would say by the end of this week, next week, I'd like to see these as a benchmark going forward, so. Does that help? All right, any other questions? I know it's a sensitive topic, but like I said, it does help us out a lot, so. Oh, sorry.
And I know that.
I know, I was like, I had to go around.
Those are fine for our soup and our entree and vegetables.
Yes,
Can we bring something to put a dessert in if we take that to go?
yes, you can.
I mean, as long as we've only got one dessert in there, as opposed to,
Yeah, and the other thing is too, we see a lot of ceramic plates going down the hallways, different things like that, and our ceramic plates are not. So
Oh, yeah.
yes,
the
yeah,
ceramic isn't going up to the ridge. So
correct, yeah. So yes, bring a container for your, bring a
Pardon me?
container.
we hope not.
We're losing plates again, folks.
Yes,
Thank you.
and I have to report plates to the person right there.
Thank you, Brian, and it's Erica up next.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So I have really good news to report from marketing today. We are, as of today and for the next 5 minutes, probably 100% reserved for occupancy. We have 7 new move-ins before the end of the year, and someone that closed on their cottage but will not be here until the end of September, but I did want to mention her, is Sue Norris. She will be here at 310 Sunrise Ridge around September 26th or 27th, but she officially became a Kendall resident on August 12th. So we look forward to welcoming her next month. And then we have 2 closings coming up as well with the Woodalls in apartment 201. They'll close August 29th, and they should be here that day. And then Hank and Sharon Humphreys will be here September 12th. So we look forward to welcoming some new folks to campus. We are reserving into 2025, so anything that comes open, we do have 1 apartment that we anticipate will be open in September. That will be reserving into 2025, so it's just been crazy how fast the year is going by. And we hit 200 people on the wait list this week as well. So it's been a really good summer for us. I wanted to ask folks to please stop by on Saturday at the Community Festival to say hello to the Kendall tent. We will be right next to the Bank of the James on Nelson Street from like 8 a.m. till probably around 3. So just please stop by and pick up some Kendall swag, and we look forward to seeing you there. Last time we were here, I introduced Sarah, who's our newest marketing associate, but I didn't want to just throw her out there to have to speak the very first time she's here. So I want to give her an opportunity to introduce herself and let Kevin and her fill you in on some more exciting news from marketing. But before I do, does anybody have any questions for me? Okay. Come on up, Sarah. Thank you.
Good morning, Kendall. If you haven't met me yet, I am Sarah. I actually was introduced by Kendall to Kendall in the most magical way because my parents live on Sunrise Ridge.
Sure. Put it up to your mouth. It's
You gotta eat it.
Thank you. So if you couldn't hear me before, so I was introduced to Kendall in the most magical way because my parents live on Sunrise Ridge. So coming at it from that perspective, I already loved Kendall before I got here. I already knew the food was amazing. I already knew that the accommodations are amazing. So I'm very excited to share that with new people as they come here. And I'm happy to contribute my perspective to people that's a little bit different than just getting trained in the normal way. So a little bit about me. I have 2 daughters I'm very proud of. They're athletes. So you'll see me rushing out of here to get to games in the evening. I have 2 French bulldogs, and I love to travel.
Thank you, Sarah. Okay, in the past, since the last Residents Association meeting, the marketing department has had 18 tours, tryouts, and meetings. And Sarah had half of them. She had 9, I had 9. That's not counting an open house that we had with 29 visitors who toured with us. But from the regular tours, tryouts, and meetings, we had 6 different couples and individuals from Lexington, and then 1 each from Buena Vista, Roanoke, Gloucester, Virginia, Durwood, Maryland, Lake Worth, Florida, Longwood, Florida, Vero Beach, Florida. Everybody wants out of Florida. Cary, North Carolina, Henrico, Virginia, Signal Mountain, Tennessee, Madison, Wisconsin, and Vallejo, California. So we continue to have people from literally all over the country coming to explore the possibilities here at Kendall at Lexington. All of that busyness resulted in 7 new waitlist members in the last 30 days. And by the way, Sarah signed 5 of them. New waitlist members were from Charlottesville, New York, Corvallis, Oregon, and 4 from Lexington, Virginia. So those 7 new waitlist members bring us to 29 year to date. Our goal is 30. And as Erica mentioned, we hit a milestone for the first time in a long time. We have 200 total on the wait list, and currently 54 of them are on the ready list. And that's all I have for this month. Thank you. Oh, question?
Is there 200 individuals or 200 family units?
200 family units. Some of them are couples, some of them are singles. Yes?
Getting to 200 doesn't mean we're gonna have to talk about phase 4, does it?
That's a board level and Jan Bigelow level question. I have nothing to do with that. But if they decide on it, we'll sell it.
Thank you, good answer.
Oh, you might.
All right, is this one working?
Yes.
All right, good morning.
Good morning.
So first things first is we have a new employee in facility. She went through orientation last week. Today is her actual first day working, and we are throwing her in front of y'all right off the bat. So marketing made us look bad with that. But Cheyenne, come up. And, Cheyenne is our new project coordinator. So she's the new lieutenant.
I'm Cheyenne Tucker. As he said, I'm the new project coordinator. I'm excited to be here. This is my first day. I'm traveling from Bath County, Virginia, which is about 45 minutes away. I graduated Bridgewater College with a degree in business. And I also love animals and I enjoy traveling.
All right, second thing, Dave Hoke is back. So you see him in the last video. Welcome back from his surgery vacation. Please do not do so with a friendly tackle. So he's not quite full speed zipping around like he was, but we are really glad to see Dave back and getting on the task list with us. So on to the task list. Our fire alarms and sprinkler systems have been a major headache, and I probably don't need to tell anyone in here about it. We are struggling to keep that system operating the way it needs to be. We have spent over $120,000 with Johnson Controls in the last 12 months. On August 1st, they signed off on our system, completed the very expensive inspection that they performed, and we've had 4 major fire system infrastructure failures since August 1st when they said everything was fine, check please. That's not good. So we're struggling with that a little bit. One of those was a sprinkler head activation in Webster. So the sprinkler actually decided to do its thing and released water for between 10 and 15 minutes, not as long as we had on the last one board. Pretty big problem in there. That one actually was not the sprinkler system's fault. The sprinkler did what it was supposed to. We have found a design and construction problem in the attic. That attic was cooking so much that it actually set off the sensor, which is has a temperature sensor in it. The sprinkler in that case did what it's supposed to do. I've met with 3 different firms. I met with the engineer yesterday. We've come up with a solution to go back in and make some roof corrections from the original construction design that should address that. We actually have 2 solutions, both of which we think are about 90% likely to fix it. So we're doing both of those. So I figure that makes our odds of success very, very high. We'll get that knocked out and that dining room back in service just as soon as we can, but I have to make sure that the sprinkler system is functional before I take down the tape and tell everyone that it's okay to go in there. Other parts of our system have been air leaks and valves not opening or valves not closing or gauges telling us 50 PSI when there's actually 0 PSI inside the pipe. All those things that were inspected recently, so we've been struggling with that a lot. Jan and Felicia are supporting us with both repairs and a big picture way forward to stop this. But it's a major project, so I do not have a magic wand and tell you it's effective right now. It's fixed because it's going to take quite a bit of time and effort, but it is absolutely at the top of the list because I recognize how disruptive that is, and I recognize how critical that life safety equipment is. It has to work. I'd rather have 10 false alarms in a system that works than turn the system off and have peace and quiet, and then we don't have a functioning fire protection system. I can't do that. So we're working on it to get her going. Okay, rest of my project list. Sunnyside, we're getting quotes for a new roof and HVAC system in there. Still think we're going to be able to get some of that work done in 2024. That is a 2024 project. I met with one of the firms yesterday, so that is still moving. You should see some upgrades to that shortly. The access control door project, we have some things on the punch list still. They come about once a week to work on that. We have other doors, not part of the access control project, that continue to give us problems. One of which was run into with something and the hinges are physically bent. I have to tear out the door and replace it if I can find a contractor to do that. We reached out to 2 new door companies to do that work. One of them actually called us back and is interested and will be here tomorrow to look at some of these long-time problem handicap opening doors that none of the other companies have been able to successfully fix. Hopefully they show up, hopefully they're able to do what they say, and we'll get some progress on those as well. I told you back in July that our elevator company told us our parts were in for the first of our elevator rehabilitations. I've been yelling at them about every 10 days. I still don't have a schedule of when they'll come in and actually do the work. We had the last conversation on Monday, to be determined. So the parts are in. I'm just trying to get onto their service queue for them to come up and do this. Did not expect to talk about this on August 21st, but it was 46 degrees in my house this morning. I need to remind everybody that most of our systems are 2-pipe systems, which means I can heat or I can air condition. I cannot do both. And it's a several day switch over between the 2. So when I still have highs of 85 during the day, I have to leave our chiller system on and functioning and not our boiler system. So if we have days like today, a lot earlier than usual, a lot more of them, we will have some challenges with our HVAC system on maintaining that right balance. I'll monitor that every day and we'll do what we can to make sure we're getting that right. Please understand, I cannot run the boilers for heat at 6 in the morning and then run the chiller that afternoon for air conditioning. I can only do one or the other. It's a several day switch. Also related to the temperatures, I can now start putting guys back into the attics to finish our humidifier installs and resume our insulation project we've been doing as well. We had to lay off of that in the summer, or the guys would burst into flame when I sent them up into the attic to work, and we decided to not do that. Okay, those are my big projects to update. Any questions for me this morning? Yes, sir.
What's up with the cable system and the utility work that's going on now?
The question was, what's up with the cable system and the flags and utility markings that you see around? I sent out an email to that with the information I had on that. That is a company called Brightspeed. They're a high-speed internet provider. They're using their utility right-of-way to basically lay those cables on the property. We believe that means they will make their services available in the future, but they're an internet cable provider. An internet fiber optic cable provider, that's what those are. So when we get the missed utility ticket, we have to go mark where things are, and then you see Dominion and Columbia Gas and all the others doing the same for this third-party contractor. Wayne and I will pass along any information we have about when they're done, what services they might be making available, and things like that. That is an outside utility installing those on our property. Yes, sir.
If we have Brightspeed on Sycamore, so does this mean they're putting it in on somewhere else?
The question was, some folks on Sycamore already have Brightspeed, and does it mean they're putting it in everywhere else? The Miss Utility ticket they put in asked me to mark every utility on the entire 84 acres. So that's about 300 man hours of work for us to do that. So I sent them back an Instagram and we pushed back a little bit on that. They marked most of the campus. So I honestly can't tell you where their limits are and things like that. I think they're doing pretty broad, expansive service to communities. The techs, the guys who are digging here, they really can't answer that, and I don't have an answer from their office. Yeah, yes, ma'am.
Humidifiers on Sycamore, are we going to get them?
The question was the humidifiers. The humidifiers that we're replacing are ones that were part of the upgrade on the Sunrise Ridge homes. It's not a broad blanket upgrade. It's replacing things that we found the wrong units for putting in action. I'm just trying to make that right. Okay, thanks, y'all.
Good morning, all. Can you hear me? Okay. Well, I'm going to do a little exciting, kind of explained, very high level on the budget process. And I know there's been more questions about the capital budget, so I'm going to give everybody a little update on what we're going to be looking at for the 2025 budget. But as everyone knows, our books are kept on a calendar year basis from January to December. And so obviously our budget is on that same year. And so the budget process really starts in the month of July when we develop the budget calendar. And what that does is tell staff and resident council and all of us that have a piece of the budget, which is almost everybody, what the expectations are and how we're going to follow this so we can have an implementation of the budget for the next calendar year. So there's two components to the budget, our operating budget and our capital budget. And that's every year we have those. The operating budget is what you might think. It's revenue coming in, entrance fees, monthly fees, all of that kind of stuff, and the expenses associated with that. Food, utilities, licensing for hardware, all of that kind of stuff. Then the second piece is the capital budget. And a capital asset is anything that you purchase, and our policy is over $1,000 that has a useful life of over a year. So that includes buildings, equipment, building components, large ticket items, not your regular things that you use up every year. So there is some discretion in that. You have to use your professional judgment sometimes of distinguishing. It's not always clear cut if something's operating expense or a capital expense. So what happens with the budget is all the directors develop their own budgets. So we've already sent out in the accounting department, the individual directors have their budgets and they need to fill those out line by line, how much they think they're going to need in food or in office supplies, all of that. They also have to have, they start with zero. They also have to have an justification. Jan and I will meet with every director of the departments to go over their budgets to see. And they can explain why they might need more funds, why they might need that, why they don't need something, so they can look at their programming and everything. In addition to those operating budgets, that component, there's also a compensation budget. That's already been kind of set up. So we don't willy-nilly look at wages for staff. We do use wage surveys, and I've been able to get 3 different wage surveys for us to look at for different positions. And Jan and Clint and I are going to start looking at that today. Another piece of that is benefits. So staff, and the reason I emphasize these two is because of our budget between benefits and wages for staff, that makes up about 45% of the budget for the expenses. So benefits, another piece of it. We get lots of information and a lot of, I think, savings because we're with the Kendall Corporation. So that's another piece of the budget that my department tends to work on. So once all of those expenses, the operating revenue and expenses are compiled, we bring drafts before the Finance Committee. And the Finance Committee of the board typically sees that twice, sometimes almost 3 times, so that they can make suggestions. They can come back to Jan and I, say, no, we don't think this works, that kind of stuff. After the finance committee is comfortable with that budget, it then goes before the full board for their approval. The board is really responsible for overseeing, how the community is run, and so they have ultimate responsibility. So before I go on to the capital budget, any questions about the operating budget? Pretty straightforward. The capital budget, as I mentioned, capital items are bigger ticket items that last a long time. And they're the ones that really can also cost a lot of money. So in the past, through the years, our capital budget has varied. Obviously, as the community gets older, that capital budget is much larger. This year, a little over $2.6 million. So how do we develop the capital budget? A couple different things. We get input from residents. We've sent out the resident request for folks to identify capital items they see that we might need. We get information or input from the directors, Wayne and IT, what he might need, equipment that needs to be replaced at dining, all of that. So staff also put in input. The other thing is for folks that have been, or maybe for folks that haven't been here as long, is in 2022, we had facility conditions assessment, where an engineering firm came and looked at all of our basic equipment, our building envelope, chillers, boilers, all those type of things within our community, and did an analysis of what they thought our capital needs were going to be for the next 20 years and the associated cost of those items. Came up to be, over 20 years, $47 million. Now, some of that stuff's been done, some of it actually goes on the operating budget, but it really gives you a very extensive list as a guideline of what to do. So Todd, obviously, he uses that in what he's doing for capital request and what he's repairing. And it's something that we look at least a couple times a year, what have we already completed, what needs to be there. So between resident input, staff input, the facility conditions assessment, and items that maybe were identified during our Department of Health surveys. Sometimes they come in and say, okay, you guys need extra sprinkler heads, or there's other things that they identify that we have to do. So we gather all that information and we prioritize those capital items. Because just like our personal budgets, you can't do everything. There's a limited amount of not only money that you don't want to spend 1 year, but even more importantly is we have a limited amount of staff time. I could, Jan and I could identify 50 things for the facility department to do, but there's limited resources, how much staff that you have. Even if you bring in outside contractors, somebody has to manage those contractors. So we have to prioritize. So things that we've identified for this next year for the budget, and there's some big ticket items, I'm telling you, and we do not have quotes right now, but my anticipation is that we're probably going to spend this capital budget about $2.5 to $3 million this next year. So the things that we've identified, Sycamore Lane roofing. So this will be our phase 3 of roofing. Sunnyside House, there's some more items that we're gonna eventually do. We're not gonna do Sunnyside House all at one time. Some other items that we want to identify for Sunnyside House. A really, really big item, the resident alarm and our call bell system. The one in the Borden Center was put in when I got here in 2007, or it was upgraded. And the Webster, a lot of that infrastructure for the call bell and our pets and all that is over 20 years old, 25 years old. And we're having, it's old technology and we've got to update that. That's going to be a big item. Is it 10,000? Is it $1 million? I don't know. It's probably closer to the $1 million. Exactly don't know, but hopefully as time's going and Todd will be talking to contractors, we'll get quotes and we'll keep everybody updated. Another big item, as Todd had just mentioned, was the fire panel and our suppression system. We cannot keep spending $100,000 trying to fix something. We have got to get this replaced. Again, a lot of that is 20, 25 years old. Big ticket item. Smaller items, every year we've got replacement on laptops and desktops and stuff like that for staff. I know that copy machines, every time Tim, the copy guy comes, he's cursing under his breath because the copy machines both have like 1 million copies on it. So those will be, I guess, 5 years old come January, and that's usually a replacement. So we're going to replace the Anderson copy machine and the one in the Borden Center. Let's see, obviously, we always do renovations to apartments and cottages. According to our actuaries, we should have 9 turnovers next year. That's what they said for this year, and what do we have, 16, 17, so they're not always right. It might be less. So we got turnovers, a main chiller, that's something that Todd's also looking into. Let's see. I know there's also a talk at the Kendall Corporation about the phone system, a replacement. I'm kind of hoping that will not be in 2025, only because of the fire suppression and the alarm system. Those are huge. So as I mentioned, we're thinking about $2.5 million to $3 million. I will update residents on what the final capital budget is. I already have scheduled is the budget presentation to the residents. Let's see, I wrote down the date. It's a Tuesday, December 10th at 11 o'clock here in Kendall Hall. So you're welcome to come to that. But I just like to tell folks there's lots of different needs and wants, and then Todd mentioned at one of his presentations have-tos. So some of these things like the suppression system, the call bell system, we really have to do. Any questions? And my glasses just broke before I came here, so I might have to point. I can't see people. So any questions? None. Okay. Well, thank you all very much.
Diana's not here, Delaney is gonna do the CNE report this morning.
Right.
First off, I'd like to just give you my name, Doreen Folslow, just so that I can look up here and see what they did to it. Not too bad. Things are picking up now at CNA, now that fall is approaching. We have 5 bus trips between now and our next RA meeting, and there are days with several events going on at the same time. Today, there will be a documentary on Picasso's Guernica at 4:30. Then there will be our monthly dining out at Taps Patio with the bus leaving at 5:30, and that trip is filled. Saturday, August 24th, is an extra busy day. We will be going to see Footloose, a rock and roll music drama in Fincastle with Attic Productions. The bus leaves at 1 p.m. There are still several spots on the bus available, but decision has to be done right away. And if you think that you would be able to go, please contact Shay Peters. Also that night, Sunnyside Stream will feature Victor Borga and his music and comedy at 8 p.m. And Saturday, August 31st, the Sunnyside Stream will feature Katie Malua, a pop film jazz musician. And into September, Tom Camden will give a talk on the Racial Integrity Act at 4:30 in Kendall Hall. September 11th, Kendall College will start a series on their classes. September 12th, there will be an outing to the Virginia Quilt Museum and the Dayton Farmers Market. The bus will leave at 9:30 and be back around 3. And more information on this will be posted around Labor Day. September 15th, there will be a Rockbridge Choral concert with the bus at 6:30. Dining out on September 17th will be at Devil's Backbone, the bus at 5:30. September 19th, we are working out the details for a program by General Robert Gorshevsky. Game day continues every Saturday at 1:30, and Rummikub continues to be very popular. That's it.
Okay. Got another glitch here. I don't think I did this.
That's what they asked for handle it.
Oops.
There we go. That's it.
There you go.
Yes, John.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Wanted to give you a little update on what the land use advisory group is turning their attention to. We're looking at how we use or how we make use of our existing outdoor spaces, especially those that are close up by our buildings, adjoining buildings that are accessible to us. That actually have accessible restroom facilities we can get to from those spaces. Just spaces that right now are maybe a little underutilized, or spaces that were designed to serve as one function, but we no longer use them in that way. The original purpose might have been quite different from how we're using it today. One example might be the Sunnyside patio, which was, I think, originally intended for more like an open space reception, smaller groups. We're now finding ourselves hosting larger groups and actually using them for projecting concerts on Saturday evenings. Something that was not originally intended. Thinking about what possible improvements or changes we could make to spaces like that to make them more usable to our community, make them more inviting, accessible to everyone in our community. Another area we're looking at is around the fitness center. We have a pool deck out there that looks lovely. See some people on occasion, but not much going on there. Looking at maybe developing some outdoor group fitness spaces adjoining that fitness center. Thinking about that rock garden area that is just right outside where the side rooms are, that might be useful for group exercise classes, you know, on nicer days, during good weather. So we'd like to invite your input to these types of ideas. If you know any other spaces around campus that would be that we should be looking at. If you have any specific ideas of what you might like to see in some of these spaces I mentioned, please let us know. You can talk to me or any of the other members of the Land Use Advisory Group. They are Robert Potter, Paul Cormier, Diane Herrick, and Merle Fisher from the resident side. Also, Todd's on that group, Jan is on that group. Pretty much we're all available to you for your comments and inputs. Any questions? That was easy. Great. Thank you so much.
Good morning, all. Doreen opened up the issue of names. I don't know what this device is that prints words up here, but some of them ought to be corrected.
Like Kendall? Yes.
Kendall is the principal one. It's got an extra L on it. And it's up there almost every line, misspelled. It handled Vallejo, California with a J in it, 3,000 miles away, but misspelled Buena Vista, which is 6 miles away.
That's right.
Okay, that's not why I'm up here to talk. There are two things I want to bring up in connection with the Kendall College program. First is I want to correct a misunderstanding. Twice in the last month or so, I have heard or read a statement that says, in effect, that Kendall College is taking a vacation or a break during the summer. That is not correct. We have no break. We are always at work, working on programs. We have frequently had summer programs in June, July, or August, or some lapping from 1 month to the other. And although we didn't have one last summer, the reason is that we're dependent on the speakers' schedules that we want to schedule to speak to us. And some of them that we want just can't be available for one reason or another in the summer. Second, coming attractions. We have several programs starting, while it's still technically summer.
First of all, in September, there will be a 3-lecture program on preservation of the classical world in various senses, given by 3 different professors of the W&L Classics Department. We couldn't get one to do all 3 because of their schedules. So they agreed, the 3 of them, to do this program. It will start on September 11th with Michael Laffey, who's one of our neighbors who lives over here in Confederate Cove. On the 18th is Caleb Dance, and on the 25th, all Wednesdays, is Rebecca Benefield. Their 3 lecture subjects in general are Athens for Michael, literature for Caleb, and Pompeii for Rebecca, who is one of the world's experts on excavation at Pompeii. Then in October and November, Tim Gaylord will return. Tim is one of our popular presenters. He's now an emeritus professor at W&L, professor of music. He presented our 100th program last year, and that tied him with Hank Sharp for giving the most Kendall College programs. Earlier this year, he told me he wanted to hold that record by himself. So he's offered to come out here this fall and do a program for the first time on American composers. So on October 23rd, he will talk about Louis Moreau Gottschalk, who was around in the 19th century. Scott Joplin on the 30th of October, who overlapped the 19th and 20th centuries. And we'll close on November 6th with George Gershwin. Ought to be an outstanding series. He's looking forward to doing it, and I hope you will look forward to being with him. And on each side of those 3 Wednesday afternoon programs by Tim Gaylord, Bob Strong will finish the series he started a week ago on this year's presidential election. He will speak before the Gaylord series on October 16 on the subject of a fall forecast. That's 3 weeks before the election. And then the election comes in early November. The day after the election is Tim Gaylord's final presentation on Gershwin. And the following week will be Bob Strong concluding his series on what it all might mean. So I hope you will look forward to those, and I'll go back to the committee and we'll see what we can plan for next summer.
Bill has something for us?
Good morning, thank you. As the convener of the food committee, I would like to share that the committee every month meets and reviews comments that we receive from residents regarding dining services. We have recently added the ability for people to put comment cards into the system via Katie. We review all of those. Typically, we've been getting 15 to 30 cards in the box down in the dining room. Last month, we got 24 cards in the box and 23 cards on Katie. So that seems to be working, and it's very, very helpful. That gives us some insight of the opinions of some of our residents, but
something feels missing to all of us, and we're trying to rectify that with a survey. We spent the last month or two working with a subcommittee of the food committee to develop a general survey, which we will send out to independent living residents. It will go out via computer for those who do email. If you are not on email, we will print a hard copy and put it in your box. We are asking that everybody complete the survey. So if there's more than one person in a household, please, both of you, share your opinions, because I know my wife and I like different things in the restaurant and elsewhere, so I suspect that that carries across our community. There are a couple of technical tweaks that Erica Turman and I are going to try and nail down. She has been an enormous help to us in putting this survey together. I'm not sure exactly when it's going to go out. I'm hoping to do it before the end of this month, if not, it'll be in early September. And we will then use the results of that. It's a very general survey. We will use the results of that to potentially make changes in the dining services. We will use it for looking for additional insights and potentially other surveys to get more detailed information on what people are looking for and want in the dining survey or in the dining services. So just a quick heads up, this is coming. We'll put out an email and let everybody know when it goes out. And so please be looking for that in the near future. Questions about that? Great. Thank you very much.
Anna's coming up to give us some information on upcoming TED Talk.
You think with the energy I usually have, I'd be a lot more wild when I come up here. For those of you that I do not know or who don't know me, my name is Anna. I'm the nurse supervisor for Ward Webster and a clinic. My office, if you ever want to drop by and see a wonderful rainforest, is in the clinic itself. Big plant person. So we are going to be having a TED Talk about the third week of September, and it's going to include 3 different talks. I've been working with Mr. Crane. I sent him the information to try and get that situated to speak about dementia. So it will begin with dementia as a whole, a little bit of information about things you can do as caregivers, and then it also is going to end with a photographic journey for a mother and son who are going through the dementia progress itself. So I did also want to let you know that we do have a caregivers meeting that meets the third Friday of every month. We do it down in the staff development room, and it is at 10 a.m. We are also going to be having a dementia community caregiver support group coming from the Alzheimer's Association, which I will be doing as well. And they will have that hopefully at Sunnyside. So we're going to try and do it to where more folks can be there to be able to give input and insight into what you can expect and what to expect with the disease process. If anybody is interested in coming, you're again welcome to come. You can email me, and that's including with the TED Talk. So when we do have that next month, everybody is welcome. Oh, it's going to be here at Kendall. Yes, the TED Talk will be here in Anderson.
And are you gonna have actual speakers, or are you gonna be watching the YouTube?
We're going to have 3 TED Talk videos that will be happening. And then the hope is to be able, I haven't done that yet, but I just got in touch with her to see if we could have a speaker come as well at some point. So it'll be following the Alzheimer's walk.
So it'll be in Kendall Hall.
It'll be in Kendall Hall, yes, ma'am. Does anybody else have any other questions?
We're not quite done. To clean up trash. Stick with us at that roadside cleanup.
Good morning, everybody. Okay, you've heard all about these wonderful programs. You've heard about these wonderful programs I can top them all. Roadside trash pickup, all you need to remember is September 14th, right. September 14th, that's a Saturday. We will meet at 9 o'clock. I will be putting up an announcement and sign-up sheet by the stairs down to the dining room in about a week. And I invite everybody to do. That would be quite true, wouldn't it? I hope to get about 17 to 20 of us out there, and we will do our dirty work. And if it rains or it snows or something, it'll be. We have a rain date of September 24th. And if you are new, we pick up trash on Enfield Road, a 2-mile section. It's all organized. We provide the equipment, and we invite you to join us. But I do need to give you a briefing, even if you've done it before. We've all picked up trash, I think, but anyway, DOT demands that you have an official briefing, which I will do before the 14th. So I'll be here for a couple of minutes if you have any questions. And any questions now? Bill?
Do we still get a free lunch afterwards?
I haven't spoken to Kelsey yet, but I hope so. And we have a lot of fun. So, okay, thank you.
We did really well. We're not talking about very much, but I always want to ask if there's anything that needs to come up from the group. No? All right. Same time next month.